Welcome to What? That Old Queen, a candid and adult take on queer life quandaries at a certain age, so please listen at your own discretion. Presented by Daryn and Tommy, their views are their own and in no way reflect those of any service you may hear this program on. Now, let your ears be upstanding for the Old Queen. Tommy.
Hi, Bernie Head Boy.
Have I told you I was head boy?
Yes, I'm finding more and more about you. There's so many layers to peel off. But I was quite excited when you told me you were a head boy.
I was the head boy. Yeah, I mean, it was quite easy to be head boy at my school. It was rough as fuck, to be honest. So you just have to keep your nose clean.
I actually don't think that I came into any contact with head boys in my school.
And now you're in contact with a head boy all the time.
Yeah, I know. Lucky me.
And we're doing a very special Pride show for Bristol Online Pride. And we have Mr Pride himself, Daryn Carter, with us.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Great to be here.
How you doing?
I'm good. I never knew you were a head boy either.
No, I don't tell everyone that.
Well, you just have.
But now that you know, you can kind of tell.
Yeah. I could understand why he spanks me when I'm naughty now.
Definitely. And tell you not to run in the corridors. I hope we've all washed our hands.
Yes?
Yeah, because we're obviously still in...
I mean, this room is covered with hand sanitizer.
And so am I. I literally showered in it. So how's the break been for you?
Yeah, because we've had a bit of a break. I don't feel like I've had a break at all, really. This week has just been so madly hectic and still performing bits and pieces online. I got a bit overexcited last night and drunk too many glasses of white wine. So now I'm drinking more white wine to try and make me feel normal again.
Well, it's hair of the dog, isn't it? And how about you, Daryn? You've probably been really busy with Online Pride.
Yeah, it's been really busy, kind of getting everything ready for... It all starts... Well, we're kind of... When this goes out, we'll be in week 2 of the show. So kind of lots of stuff going on, lots to get ready. But yeah, there's been lots of new skills to learn. So kind of been trying to get all that...
Well,
together.
yeah, we've all had to... Well, I've had to buy shitloads of new equipment just to do everything remotely. But yeah, well, tell us about... What have you had to learn for Lockdown Pride?
I guess just maybe being a bit of a techno Luddite. You know, I know my way around things and can make websites and do stuff, but just this whole online streaming and you know, how to make stuff work and make sure it's going to be really engaging for people, and how to do it on Facebook, how to do it on YouTube and different channels, and
Great.
What's going to look good on screen and get stuff recorded. So having to kind of talk artists through like exactly how we need the footage done, and don't stand in front of that window, and do it in landscape mode and all this stuff. So it's been kind of, getting all that together and having to then communicate that. It's been quite challenging.
I do like it when like a performer or someone that's just delivering some sort of topic on a Zoom call or online stands right in front of a window, because they look like a crime like a criminal that is trying to erase their identity.
Got any criminals erasing their identity?
No, I think we've managed to get away with it. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
We've all managed to get away with it.
So far.
So, we've got a couple of features, and you'll feel free to interject whenever you need to, Daryn. But we'll come on to more about Bristol Pride 2020, all online, which, I mean, our podcast goes out all over the world. So all of our listeners can enjoy it, right? Because it's online.
Yeah, and that is the most amazing thing this year, I think, is that we're going to go global. We've got the opportunity to share Bristol Pride with the world, and anyone can tune in from wherever they are.
Great. And we're a part of that, and it's really exciting. Anyway, Tommy, what have you got for us this week?
Usually I do something called What That Really Old Queen, which is some sort of like plays homage to some kind of queer hero in history.
Yeah.
We've gone quite far back.
Yeah.
But this time I thought I'd do something different. It's not really a hero.
Right.
It's an anti-hero.
Right.
What's an anti-hero? That means like someone that's
Yeah, well,
sort of a bit of a hero, but
they're human.
yeah, it's not even that, I would say.
They're not entirely good.
Not entirely good. No, I would say this person is a bit evil. It's Priti Patel.
Okay.
Boo.
Is she a bad gay?
Well, it's just that she's sort of done a slight U-turn for gay men, particularly with this sort of move to make poppers use not illegal, which was what it was going to be up for.
Yeah.
So Priti Patel is I think we know is the Home Secretary.
Yes.
Has quite a nasty reputation. She's been accused of bullying people in her office, and also her parents were immigrants, and she's like very harsh on migration. And when I think of Priti Patel, you know, because we're the similar age actually, and she grew up in Thatcher's Britain, and she is totally inspired by Thatcher. I think you can sort of see that in her very makeup, really.
She makes herself up like Margaret
No,
Thatcher.
that would be weird.
I might actually quite like that. She could do Margaret Thatcher drag for us while sniffing poppers.
It's an idea.
Anyway, carry on.
And she's worked under David Cameron. She's worked under, she's working under Boris at the moment. And she also worked under Theresa May, who we know is the naughtiest thing that she did was a run through a field of corn. I mean, who could forget that?
Is that really the naughtiest thing that she's ever done?
Well,
I don't believe it.
Apparently. But Theresa was putting through a bill to criminalise any kind of legal high.
Right.
And that included poppers in the mix. But then Crispin Blake, who's a Tory, stood up in the House of Commons and made a very impassioned speech, which I'm going to quickly read to you because it did amuse me. And he says, there are some times when something is proposed that becomes personal to you and you realise the government is going to do something fantastically stupid. And I think in those circumstances, one has the duty to speak up. I use poppers. I out myself as a poppers user and would be directly affected by its legalisation. Which sort of begs the question, like, why has he chosen to stand up on this issue when all these other issues have gone through Parliament, you know, that completely, have detrimental effects on LGBTQ plus people's lives, but poppers, he's going to make a stand.
He's an avid user, obviously. You know, he likes that poppers high. I mean, who doesn't?
Oh yeah. So that was put into place. He made that impassioned speech in 2016. But now Priti has sort of re-looked at this because it hasn't been put through because I don't know, but there are a few other things going on at the moment.
Just
apparently.
a few. Non-poppers related.
Yeah, non-poppers related issues. And because poppers doesn't have any direct psychotic effects, Priti is looking into that, and poppers is going to maintain its legal status, so we can all have a good sniff. And I've been listening to these programs, particularly the one on. I love You and Yours on Radio 4. It's so Radio 4, and they're talking about like what exactly is poppers and how do people use it and stuff like this. And there was an interview with this poppers manufacturer in Wakefield or somewhere, this man that actually used to run a gay nightclub in Wakefield. And he said, they asked him how did he get into it, and he said that like the gays were turning up at the nightclub with their sort of home potions and poppers that they'd made themselves. He thought this could be a bit of a money spinner.
Yeah. How do you make your own poppers?
I don't know.
I'm going to look into it. I'm going to put a recipe up on our website.
I mean,
With a disclaimer.
I mean, I've sniffed poppers, but I didn't swallow. How about you?
well, when I was thinking of this, I was actually thinking of the night, and you can take this out, Bernie, if you want, but it was me and Bernie and our friend Rob went out to socially distanced drinks last week, and we just got a bit carried away, and something about the three of us together always reminds me of the TV show Last of the Summer Wine. These three gay men walking around Old Market getting up to mischief, and we ended up dancing around my flat, maintaining a good distance, I think.
Obviously.
And sniffing poppers, drinking white wine, dancing to
Madonna. We were voguing.
Yeah. And didn't realise what was going on. My neighbour is at the front door, a neighbour that I've never seen in my life. And he just looks into the room and says, "It looks like you're having a really fun time, but would you mind closing the door?"
Well, I also have to add, this guy looked like he was in his 20s, and he's suddenly confronted with three middle-aged men, all acting like they're in their 20s. So, yeah. Last of the Summer Poppers.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we should rename this podcast. Daryn, poppers, yay or nay?
I'm going to have to say nay, I'm afraid.
Nay.
They, literally, they just give me an instant agonising headache. So even if someone's on a dance floor doing them, the smell just gives me a really bad headache.
Really?
So there's no enjoyment there for me.
Well, I have a room odorizer which is just wafting poppers right now, but you seem to be fine. So.
Yeah, well, there we are.
He is looking very relaxed.
Yeah, I think we're all quite relaxed. Great. Well, as we're talking about poppers, shall we have a game of Kink My Bluff?
Yes, please.
Okay. No poppers are involved in this game, but let's play the little jingle. Well, for this very special Pride episode of What That Old Queen and Kink My Bluff, I have nothing Pride related. Anyway, so I'm going to give you both a word, and you need to decide whether it's a kink or not a kink, or a kink or a bluff. Okay?
Is this a competition?
I mean, we could do points if you're feeling competitive.
No, I'm never competitive, but
Okay.
I'd like to know if it is or not.
Well, it could be, but we're not that competitive here. But let's see. So the first word, are you ready?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, is axillism. Axillism.
Can you use it in a sentence, please?
I'm not asking you to spell it because neither me or Tommy could spell it. So, is it the act of using an armpit for sex, as in you would thrust your penis into it, or is it a condition where the axillary nerve is damaged and causes pain to the deltoid or lack of sensation to the shoulder area?
I've never thrust my penis into an armpit.
Well, me neither. I mean, most of these kinks, we've never done. You know, it's an eye-opener for all of us. Until tonight.
Until later.
No, I thought that, and I mean, an armpit is an erogenous zone, and I would concur with that.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed an armpit or two in my time.
Yeah, but not with your penis.
No.
So, do you reckon it's a kink or a bluff?
I'm going to say it's a kink.
Okay. But Daryn, what do you think? What's your thinking behind this?
Think behind it. So I feel like you said it was an ism at the end?
Axillism.
Ism.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's maybe doing something.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe it is a kink.
You think it is the kink?
Yeah.
I can confirm it is a kink.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So
we have to go and Google that one later, right?
well, it's really weird. Some of these kinks have really kind of technical names, don't they?
Yeah.
Sometimes, in order to know more about something, you actually physically need to do it.
Right. And again, I think we should do this after the record rather than during.
I wonder, like, there must be like so many levels to that because, like, you know, is it the hairy armpit? What if someone's shaved and they're a bit stubbly? Ow, that's going to hurt.
Well, in the book that I got this from, in my coffee table book of kinks, yeah, there's something erogenous about the armpit and hair on the armpit, and for men and women, you know. So it's not just a gay thing. It's just a kink, but it's used in the S&M world as a thing. So there you go. Anyway, should we go for the next word? You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dacryphilia. Dacryphilia. Is it an infection of the lacrimal sac due to a blockage, which is dacrimal sac is in your eye, for those of you who aren't doctors, or is it people who get aroused when they see tears in their sexual partner's eyes?
Oh my God.
I love that one.
Cry for me,
Dacryphilia.
baby.
I couldn't bear to see, that's the worst thing for me, is to see a partner crying. I was like, just stop. I can't bear to look at you.
But it is a thing where, you know, some people, you know, get turned on by things like that, don't they? Like if someone's in distress, because they comfort them and then they maybe get aroused. But
Like breakup sex.
yeah. Yeah.
Make-up sex.
Yeah. Or is it the infection of the lacrimal sac due to a blockage?
Like I've ever had an infected sac. Have you?
Quite a few times. So what do you think? Is it kink or a
I would
bluff?
say it's a kink.
You're going to say it's a kink?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that one.
God.
Again, like the wording.
I can confirm it is a kink. Right.
Oh.
We're doing very well.
I'm not
here.
bluffing any of you today, am I? So, final word, eulotrichos. Eulotrichos.
I mean, that sounds like a kink to me as well.
Well, maybe it is. If someone is this, do they use stinging nettles to stimulate their skin during sex or a sex game? Or is it someone with woolly, very curly hair? If you were eulotricious or are eulotricious, are you stinging yourself with stinging nettles for sexual pleasure? Or do you just have woolly, very curly hair? I'm going to go to Daryn first.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not sourcing the origins of those words. My Latin is not so great.
Have you got a doctorate?
No.
I just thought when you said, for those of you who aren't doctors, I thought you were just directing that at me.
No, that's just... I'm not a I don't have a doctorate either. So, no, I just meant the audience.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm sure lots of doctors listen to this, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go for bluff.
So you think it's the curly hair?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Luscious curly hair. You
Okay.
luscious.
Not a kink.
Not a kink.
It's eulotricious. That's the word.
I'm going to say
I-
it's a kink.
You're going to say it's a kink.
Oh, there we are. That's very good, isn't it?
It is. It's a bluff. Daryn is right.
Daryn's won.
Daryn wins. Well, it is Pride, and he is Mr. Pride. We had to let him win, right?
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm storming out right now. I think there is maybe like people that do enjoy some stingy nettle fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is definitely a thing. I just haven't written down what the
I
word
can relate
is
to
for
that.
it.
There is a pleasure in that sensation in some weird way.
Yeah, because it's not like the worst sting in the
Yeah.
world, is it? It's just kind of a slight sting. So I
It's
imagine if you like a bit of
itchy
pain,
though, right?
yeah, but people are into that, aren't they? Daryn, let's talk about online pride this year. What's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on? What's going down?
So there's so much going on. It's been quite incredible, really, and obviously quite a journey to get here. But I think the idea behind it was that we wanted to still bring pride to everyone.
Yeah.
And pride is important, and I think we're all feeling that extra isolation at the moment. So to put pride on was something that we were really, really wanted to make happen.
Yeah.
So we've got over 22 events happening across a 2-week period. So as I say, we're kind of in week 2 now.
Okay.
And we just kind of looked at some of our favorite events from Pride. So things like our dog show, theatre night, comedy, all moving online. And part of that process was looking at what we'd already booked in. So like our theatre is just an incredible piece that we were going to bring down to Bristol in July. They were at Edinburgh Fringe last year, and it tells the story of 3 women from Trinidad and Tobago who are proud Caribbean women, but are also queer. And the challenges that they face celebrating their identity, and it's set at at Carnival, and how you celebrate your identity, but also kind of across those 2 different areas, which sometimes are not that well mixed with each other.
Yeah.
So we've actually commissioned that to be made into a film. And that's been recorded over the last couple of weeks, socially distanced, of course. And that's been great to do. So we've got that. And then, just so many events. I don't know. It's just there's so much going on.
What are the highlights that are coming up in the second week? Because obviously our listeners are listening on the 6th of September.
Yeah.
So what can they look forward to?
Yeah. So we've got our comedy night, as I mentioned. That's coming up.
Where are they happening? Are they happening on YouTube or are they on Zoom or how do you do it?
Everything will be on our YouTube channel as well as on Facebook Live, and some of them will also be kind of going out on Instagram Live as well if they're kind of short enough to do that. So we just got our YouTube channel, which is Bristol Pride Festival, and you can go and hit subscribe to get notifications when we release new videos, or just go on there to find stuff at the right time, or just hit go over to our Facebook page and hit like. And whenever we go live, you'll get a notification of that. So that's going to be, making it all really accessible, and everything's free this year. So, there's no paywalls to kind of see anything. And again, that was part of our ethos of keeping Pride accessible. And whilst we're all feeling the pinch of lockdown, but also the isolation of lockdown, having stuff you can just go and tune into and enjoy was really important to us. So comedy's on Thursday. And that's got Hannah Brackenbury. We've got the Quimprov players doing some improvisation. We've got Jade Adams, Marwan Rizwan.
I love Jade Adams.
Yeah, she's been amazing, especially during lockdown. She's done
she's been working hard on Instagram.
Yeah. And then on Friday, which is like Pride Eve, so that's Friday the 11th, we've got a fantastic event with Kiki Bristol, and they're teaming up with 3 different organisations that look after queer, trans, intersex people of colour in Brighton, Manchester and Cardiff to come together to have an intercity gathering following the events of the summer and the Black Lives Movement to talk about the challenges faced by the Black and Asian LGBT plus community, and also the opportunities that are there, to take this momentum and take something positive out of everything that's happened this year and drive it forward. So that's going to be something really special. So I recommend kind of tuning into that, because you'll be able to hear more and find out how you can help and support and elevate voices. And then on Saturday the 12th, we've got a virtual Pride Day, and that is everything that you would have expected on Pride Day. So we've got a virtual parade, and we've been recording videos and getting photos sent in from members of the public to edit into a lovely parade montage that's going to be, you can play.
Will you be doing one of your amazing speeches? Because the last time I saw Daryn was at the Solidarity with LGBTQ people of Poland, And I thought your speech was just so on point that day.
Thanks.
It was just a brilliant, moving event.
It was, yeah. And I remember seeing you from the distance. Yeah, I think it's just really important to kind of lend our voices. And, you know, talking about the event with Kiki, it's about helping elevate other members of our community. And, you know, hearing what's happening in Poland was just horrifying. Like, I genuinely, I can't imagine what it must be like to be there at the moment and live through all this. But the one positive I took away was that Marcin and some of the other members who had organised it have been able to find each other through this event, and actually found other queer Polish people in Bristol to form a network. And so through this hatred, they've found something amazing, which is each other, and can build something. And I think that's part of almost like the joy of Pride, isn't it? It's
Totally, yeah.
You have that opportunity, and I think that's why the virtual parade was so important to us, because in it, and I've watched some of it already, and I'm just kind of starting to well up a little bit, because it's that representation on the screen that we don't often see that much. And perhaps if you're a white gay man, you might see it more often in the soaps and television. But actually, for all the other identities out there and people that exist within our community, the marginalised within our own marginalised community, it's important for them to see that representation. I think, I'm hoping that, you know, we've managed to convey some of that across during.
Yeah, you want to see your own story reflected back at you.
Yeah.
In some way, so it helps create meaning to your own life.
Totally. And you, so we've got a familiar face introducing that day as well.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So, Boogaloo Stew will be hosting and comparing the festival.
Who's been one of our guests.
Yeah. And he's been kind of, you know, hosting Bristol Pride since the start, I think, way back in 2010.
Pretty much, yeah. Every year.
So it's going to be great. And it's really nice because basically I've sent him a list of all the artists that are performing across the day. Got over 40 acts performing.
Wow.
Either, you know, new at-home lockdown performances from their beds and kitchens and places.
In front of a window.
Yeah, not in front of a window. But also
don't perform in front of your window.
Yeah, right. How many times do we have to tell you? Unless you're in net curtains. But also we've got some archive footage being released as well. So, you know, Mel C from last year with Sink the Pink.
Oh, amazing.
It was just an incredible set. So we wanted to share that again. And very kindly, she's given us permission to do that. But also Alexandra Burke from 2018.
Oh, I love Alexandra Burke.
And and again, just watching that set back, it was an amazing performance. But if those of your listeners might remember, that was a very busy year. That was our last year down at the amphitheatre. And, you know, we had limited capacity.
Yeah.
Which was the whole of not even the whole of the parade. So as soon as the parade came in, we were full.
I think I couldn't get in that year. I couldn't actually get into the actual
So now
Pride.
you'll be able to watch Alexandra Burke's performance.
Well, yeah, I missed it.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to watch it again.
Yeah. So I think, you know, that's going to be really great. So, yeah, we've got a whole day of Pride performances. I'd say over 40 acts from all our different stages. So we've got the main stage, cabaret stage, our dance stage. The dancers have been sending in performances, and our new stage this year, which we've kind of given up to kind of local LGBT plus talent, and Cosmic Ninja, who were, you know, very big in Bristol. They headlined that stage last year, so we invited them back to kind of give us a little vignette of excitement for that.
Leather vignette.
A leather vignette. Oh, you love a vignette.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. I think we can all sink our teeth into that. We're going to continue on a Pride theme because we've got a few.
Because we're feeling proud.
But I can see it from here, Tommy. So, yes, we're feeling very proud today, and we're going to take a little break now, and we will be back after this to talk a little bit about Pride and do some Queens of Agony.
If you're enjoying What That Old Queen, please share our episodes on social media and subscribe on whatever podcast platform you listen on. If you can write a review, that would also help expand our audience too. We don't have any advertising or sponsorship, so if you can contribute to our Patreon account or help us by buying some merch, the links are in the episode description below or on our website, thatoldqueen.com. Thank you for your continued support.
Right. So we're back after our break, and Daryn from Pride is still here. Tommy's still here. I'm still here, obviously. And I was, because we do some historical stuff. So we do What That Really Old Queen and we do What That Really Old Kink, and look into the historical queer history, really, LGBTQ plus history. And I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole because I was trying to see it, because obviously we know about Stonewall, and it was the 50 years last year or the year before of Stonewall, but then the 50 years of Pride last year in America, and it's coming up for 50 years in the UK. But yeah, so I was looking into this and I found there's a documentary by a director, John Scagliotti, who made a documentary in the 70s before Stonewall. And
Is it on Netflix?
it's not on Netflix, and it's not, because I found it on an internet search. I couldn't find it anywhere, but it is on iTunes, so I'll put the link in the description below, which delved into LGBTQ history. But at that time in the 70s, when he made this documentary, he couldn't find anything beyond the 1920s because we've kind of been eradicated and erased from history.
I find that hard to believe, though. I mean, we all know about molly houses.
We do now, but I think that's because of the advent of the internet and the fact that a lot more of our history isn't being suppressed because we're more accepted, certainly in this country. And so it's coming more to the forefront, but it's all been kind of hidden away. And some stuff was actually completely erased and had to be hidden by secret societies. And, you know, they would hide books away because it was being changed or erased
I mean,
from
they
history.
would burn books and publications, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And also, because it's gay stuff, which was illegal, it was all very underground as well. Whereas because it's becoming more accepted, it's coming out now. Anyway, he made another documentary, which I'm delving into before I've even announced it, which in 2017, which is available on iTunes, and it's called Before Homosexuals, because I think one of the reasons why he made Before Stonewall is because people thought gays didn't exist before Stonewall. So, but they did. And we've delved into that a lot in our podcast, but they cover loads of ground in this documentary. So I advise anyone to go and watch it. But yeah, they because of all these records coming to light, and we're getting to know more about Greco-Roman times. I mean, there's stories from the Bible which have been heterosexualized when it was actually there was a love between gay men in like the Old Testament, and things like.
I mean, the Last Supper to me just looks like a scene from Pride.
I mean, only gays could put on a spread like that, right?
No.
And they're definitely going to turn water into wine somehow.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, they actually spoke about same-sex lovers. I mean, there's like Zeus fell in love with a young boy, and there's all of those stories, which we've gone into a lot in this podcast in the past. And they were historically quite commonplace because there's a lot of indigenous people, like in pagan times, but also the indigenous cultures of South America and Africa, where it didn't really matter if you were gay or not. They didn't really have a word for it. It was just something that happened. It's a completely natural thing.
I think the thing is about history, and I've said this before, is like it didn't have that sense of identity then. So nobody would identify as being gay or lesbian because it didn't exist. It was just like that you might have sex with a man.
Well, yeah, exactly. It was just seen as another thing that you did as part of your culture. It wasn't like a separate thing. And it wasn't until kind of religion came along and the church kind of inserted some of these kind of rules into their doctrine, which made the things which were acceptable before in pagan times kind of unacceptable, and therefore it was frowned upon in society. I mean, there's lots of Greek, Roman, Chinese, Renaissance tales of homosexuality, but it was all kind of shunned because of political and religious reasons. And also, in the Middle Ages, we were used as a scapegoat for everything that went wrong because it was a sin against God. And so they would actually execute people for being sodomites because it said so in the Bible. Colonialism later on said it was wrong.
I've got this amazing book called The Medieval Body, and it talks about like the medieval's version of how they viewed gender. And it's something like, if the woman was pregnant, she was living in a sort of cold, damp space, then she'd be more likely to have a female child. Right. And if it was in a dry, hot space, it would be a man. It's just really curious, like the way that they had these ideas around the body and gender.
But there's
and
lots
the environment.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is gender related. But it was kind of, there was gay marriage in Egyptian times, in Chinese cultures. A lot of the emperors had same-sex lovers in China, which is all swept under the rug.
Rug? I've never been in a rug before. Carpet, maybe. We've got a dance floor here.
Well, I'm looking forward to be swept under that later. In fact, I rolled you out from that like Cleopatra earlier. But it's interesting how we were used as scapegoats as a sin against God, because that was happening in the Middle Ages, and it's still happening now.
I'm sure we're being blamed for the hurricane in America at the moment.
Well, yeah, religious zealots are blaming us for that, probably. But also this whole thing with Russia and Poland, which is happening in other Eastern European countries and, around the world, where we're being used as scapegoats for stuff because it's seen as something unnatural, when it actually is perfectly natural. This documentary goes into how they found genes for lesbianism. Genes, like DNA.
Oh, right.
Not lesbian genes.
Not blue genes.
Not a pair of genes that lesbians had. But for lesbianism, being gay, being bi, being heterosexual, they've found all of these biological reasons for that. They've actually found these genes in ancient remains of Neanderthal men. So it means that there were gay people in Neanderthal times because it was perfectly natural.
I just got this idea of a shop in my head that's selling lesbian jeans.
I wonder what they look like.
Just like normal jeans, I think.
Do you reckon? Well, of course they would. But yeah, it's really interesting how kind of history repeats itself, and we think we've progressed from medieval times, but actually we really haven't.
And actually that book that I was talking about, that Medieval Bodies book, like some of these ideas, they seem quite outlandish, but they are being adopted in new ways of thinking about certain things.
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's kind of, we almost talk about like 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, because you think about we think great progress is being made, but then things like what's happening in Poland will happen, and the rise of the far right across Europe, and then obviously in America as well, bringing this all back. And it was really interesting that someone I spoke to at the protest, said, it's not the Poland that I recognize. I didn't grow up in a Poland like this. Like it was so much more open and free, and all of a sudden now it's becoming filled with hate. And
it's interesting how kind of this happened in the Second World War with the Nazis and the Holocaust. I mean, that's another thing which was not spoken about for so many years, that how many gay people died in those concentration camps. And that happened in Poland. It's like, if you not learned from this, but it's interesting how we're used as a scapegoat for stuff, or we're seen as something less than everybody else because we're different.
I think it was one of the things that I've always, when I went to Holocaust Memorial Days and kind of heard about things like, the LGBT people, when they shut down the concentration camps, they were kept back because it was still illegal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just horrific.
And that's kind of a story which is still not really told to this day. And this is why I think Pride is important, because it's important that we're seen and that we express our freedom, if we have it in the countries that we have, for those that still don't have it, or those people that have been repressed in the past or executed in the past, I think this is why we need to celebrate Pride. And when people say, even gay people, LGBTQ plus people say, oh, why have we still got Pride? I think you need to look at the history and you need to look at what's going on in the world. And this is why we need Pride. And there was a really lovely quote in this film by a sexual idealist who was obviously gay in the 19th century called, I'm probably not pronouncing this right.
Just go for it.
Kafafi.
I think if you just do it with conviction, no one's going to bother.
It's called Kafafi, and it's called The Brigade of Pleasure. And this was before there was ever a Pride, but it just kind of sums Pride up. And I want Tommy to read the quote.
In what accent?
in your own accent, in a Pride accent.
Okay. Don't speak of guilt. Don't speak of responsibility. When the brigade of pleasure passes with music and with flags, with a sense of shiver and tremble, it's wrong and disrespectful to stay distant. All the laws of morality, badly though out, badly applied, are nothing, and can't even stand for a second when the brigade of pleasure passes with music and with flags.
Which I think just sums Pride up,
that's
right?
That's Pride, isn't it?
It's Pride.
You've got music, you've got flags, you've got Pride.
Do you think if you were born in a different period, you would be a sexual revolutionary?
Oh God, I don't know. Maybe. I'd hope so. I'd like to think I would be. But it was probably quite dangerous to be a sexual revolutionary in so many times. How about you, Daryn?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to think that I'd be able to stand up for other people still and kind of want to live in a world where I could be myself and be happy. And I think that's what we all want, isn't it? So if you've got to stand up and try and change how things are working, then maybe that's what you do. It's really interesting, isn't it? To kind of find these stories. And you were talking about the film and I was like, it's bringing memories back, but it wasn't that film. We showed Real in a Closet back in 2015. And that was very similar. That was kind of like all those home movies that were filmed like in the 70s and stuff, and before, all hushed up and hidden away. And it's just incredible. These people existed. But as you say,
did you see any of Bernie and me?
I think they were all of you, actually. Yeah.
When I was doing this LGBT history project around like people in Bristol, older peoples and their memories, this one guy kept talking about this film called Boys in the Sand. And it was such a brilliant name, Boys in the Sand. And there's a little bit that I've seen on YouTube. It's like a very erotic porn film.
Filmed in the dunes.
Yeah. But sort of quite early 1960s, I think.
I mean, the film is interesting because it says that like gay culture kind of invented sexology in a way because it was so repressed, and but we were using new technology when photographs came along just to be able to experience our sexuality, but in an underground way. So people would pass around photographs and.
Well, it's just Grindr, really,
Yeah.
When I've heard those stories about men passing around photographs and like hard copies in the 60s, it's just like swapping pics on Grindr, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. But apparently there was a whole section of the Kama Sutra which was dedicated to same-sex couples, which was edited out. Because in the ancient past, it didn't matter. But as things kind of progressed, it did. So they edited it out of the Kama Sutra, which is crazy. And
I feel like that's an art project that we need to deliver.
Maybe it is.
Rewriting it or rediscovering
I could do
it.
the illustrations.
The joy of sex. I mean, I'm hairy enough for that. So. But I
love just doodling people having sex while I'm on a Zoom call.
Whether they want you to or not.
I'm really offended that I haven't had a sketch yet. You haven't sketched me.
Well, I'm happy to.
Well, great. When do you want me to pose?
Because I've been putting these pictures of, they're actually mostly lovers on my kitchen cabinet, but I've changed it now and it's all Matisse-inspired works. But I can go back.
What would I be? Picasso-inspired?
Just looking at you now. I think you'd be more Van Gogh.
Van Gogh. Yeah, of course.
Van Gogh. Is it Van Gogh?
A bit of a Dali, if you ask me.
Thanks, Daryn. Okay, right, that's enough of that, I think. We will do some Queens of Agony. Daryn, are you willing to stay on board to answer some quandaries from our listeners? Okay, great. I'm going to do a big gong. And we have some interesting ones. One question of which is kind of related to something we've been talking about, which I wasn't going to include, but as we've been talking about it, I am going to include it. But anyway, here's the first question. Dear old queens, and Daryn, obviously, how do you get over a crush when they're not gay? So I've had a crush on a super cute friend of mine, but deep down, I know he's not gay, especially since I asked. Anyway, I just keep finding it really depressing to hang out around him. And he's super nice to me and a really good friend. But him treating me nicely just makes me more sad that he doesn't feel the same way as I do. So I'm in a terrible situation where I don't want to spend time around him because it's torturous. Yet I still really care about him. I don't want to ruin our friendship. What do you think I should do? FYI, I am out.
I didn't think you weren't.
Not me, the listener.
No, listen, I'm going to say something initially. Like, I didn't want to know why they prefaced that with that, like, how do you get over with a crush when whether they're not gay? It's the same. There's no difference, is there?
No, because if someone else is gay and they're not,
it's not like you have a crush on someone that's gay and they're automatically going to deliver.
Yeah, I mean that's a very kind of hetero attitude towards gayness, isn't it? It's
like, when they say, "Oh, you should meet my friend, you get on so well,"
and they're literally not like your type whatsoever. You would not get on with them. Yeah, that happens a lot, doesn't it? I don't know. Yeah, it's about I think it is just about getting over a crush. Who either doesn't fancy you, whether they're gay or not.
I think the answer is get a new crush.
I kind of agree. You've got to get someone else to kind of take your mind off it. Right?
That song, isn't it?
Is it?
It's just
a little
crush. Who also played at Pride.
Well, yes.
Oh.
Yeah. That year.
I was there. I was backstage.
Was that 2017?
What was her name?
Jennifer Page.
Yeah.
That song.
Yeah, she did it really well.
This is what I'm going to ask now. Is the answer to this person's problem entwined in the lyrics of that song?
Yeah. It's just a little crush.
It's just exactly. So it's just
vanilla
a little crush.
skies and white picket fences in their eyes.
Yeah.
Just get over it. No, I think, get a new crush. Get out there, find a new crush. But also maybe just take those enjoyment and memories of your friend and just go home and beat yourself off and have a great time. And there you go. You kind of getting it out your system at home.
I think this is the thing which happens a lot. Obviously, I can only speak for the gay world because I'm a gay man, but maybe happens in the rest of the LGBTQ plus community, where lines get slightly blurred with friendships because, and I know it's happened to me because I care a lot about someone as a friend, and if they're the same sex as me, and because I'm gay, sometimes I question whether I fancy them or not, or am I in love with the? The thing is you can love someone, but it doesn't necessarily have to be sexual. And I think those lines sometimes get blurred, and it's sometimes confusing for gay people because when it's the same sex kind of friendship, because those feelings are the same but different. Do you know what I mean? Do you kind of understand what I'm saying?
And I think there's often another complication as well. I don't know, Bernie, if you think this, but when, because we're older and then I develop these friendships with much younger people, and then you're sort of like, you're feeling a bit maternal to them, and then you've got that extra layer and you're like, am I your lover? Am I your parent? Am I your friend? It's just very overwhelming.
Yeah. What are you?
A combination of all three.
Okay. What do you think, Daryn?
Yeah, I think it's, obviously you don't want to lose that friendship. So, and you maybe analyze, like, as you say, where those feelings are. Is it actually you just really love this person and you love the friendship and you love their time? Or is it, really sexual? And yeah, obviously kind of
I think we've talked about this one long enough now, haven't we?
Well, probably, yeah.
This is still the first one, yeah?
It's the first one, yeah.
Well, it's important, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's an important issue.
Passive.
I think it's an important issue, but I think this can happen at any age,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, maybe you're right. I mean, maybe you need a little bit of a break with your friend, and maybe go out dating somebody else, and then see some more of your friend later, when maybe you've got over it a little bit.
What they say, the best way to get over someone is to get under someone else.
Always been my motto.
All over.
Right. This is the one which is related to something we were talking about earlier. Because
Is it from Priti Patel?
it's not from Priti Patel.
Is it
and
about poppers?
It doesn't have anything to... Well, it might have something to do with poppers, but they haven't mentioned it in the email. But it does mention windows. So, dear old Queens and Daryn, I caught my neighbour masturbating across my building. And I found it as horny as fuck. Yesterday, I approached my window while on the phone. Oh, hopefully he wasn't doing a Zoom call, but maybe he was. And I caught my neighbour from across the building masturbating with the window completely open. I think he was putting on a show for someone from my building. I'm 35 and in a long-term relationship, and it's been ages since I felt so horny that I had to go to the toilet and relieve myself. Is this normal?
Well, this is funny because I know someone, and this is when I'm talking about in deep depths of lockdown, is they were still on all the apps and they were trying to hook up, but they were doing a hookup in a very different way, which was they would tell the person their address and they would leave the curtains open and they would just masturbate on their beds, and the hookup would be on the other side of the window, joining in the fun
Face
through
pressed
the pane of
against the
glass.
glass.
Yeah. So, it's socially distanced.
Wank.
Yeah.
Socially distanced sex.
Yeah.
Window sex. Do you
Window
think
sex.
this is a product of COVID times?
Yeah. I think it needs to be encouraged.
I mean, it's
Quite frankly.
it's definitely socially distanced, right? If you're just kind of...
Yeah, and you've got a screen.
And you've got a screen between you.
Yeah.
It's interesting. One of the enjoyments I've been having during lockdown is not looking at other people's windows. I've been rewatching Tales of the City. And in the second season of that, I think one of the storylines is that Brian, who lives up on the roof, is got his binoculars out and he's masturbating with someone who's in a building across the way.
Right.
Yeah. So
But is the
maybe it
punchline...
happens quite often.
Is the punchline to that story that the guy in the building across the way is actually masturbating with somebody else?
No, but it's kind of obvious. I think they don't realise, obviously, everyone else can see.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was going to be like that thing that you're waving at someone and then you... they wave at you.
Which is mortifying.
Somebody
Someone else.
But I think that's perfectly fine. And I think even if you're in a long-term relationship, you can get turned on by anything else because it doesn't all have to be about your partner. But yeah, I'm sure you did find that as horny as fuck. Especially if they were very attractive.
Obviously,
It's not really a problem, is it?
I don't think so.
I feel like that's a statement.
Yeah.
And we need to encourage it.
I think. Well, what was the thing at the end?
Is it normal?
Is this normal?
Yes.
I think it's normal.
It's normal to get horny. Yeah.
What? Yeah. What isn't normal? You know, I think it's fine.
Yeah. Is it normal? The answer is yes.
Yes.
To everything.
Yes. Okay. Yes. 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 And yes. Okay. We've got a couple more questions before we depart. So, dear old queens.
And Daryn. How old are you, Daryn?
Oh, you can't ask a lady her age.
I think you're very youthful looking.
Thanks. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay, we're not even going to go there. Okay, this is our 30th episode, so maybe he's 30?
Oh, that's about right, isn't it?
Yeah, okay. So, dear old queens and Daryn, I found a sort of silly but effective dating rule. If I meet a man who won't eat leftovers, I won't date him. Every single high-maintenance boyfriend I've ever had over the years has refused to eat leftovers at other meals. This tells me that they're either making a ton of money and can afford to eat out all the time, or they don't know how to save money and tend to believe that money grows on trees. And they also probably don't know how to cook or generally take care of themselves. Do you have any simple, effective litmus tests that help you weed out potential partners?
Well, I'm trying to think of one, but I would, I love that one. And actually, there's huge environmental issues around that as well. So,
Well, eating leftovers.
yeah, I don't throw the food away. I think it shows that you're ecologically sound.
I don't have an issue with eating. I think I do have an issue with eating leftovers.
I don't. But you
You're
need to.
you're
What
undateable
you need
then.
to do.
This is why I'm single.
You haven't got the memo.
I mean, I can cook a big meal and have it over a few days, which is what I was doing during lockdown. But I don't necessarily. I think if I cook something, then I'll eat it. Do you know what I mean? I don't think there are leftovers.
That's just because you're greedy.
It's because I'm greedy. It's because I. But also, I'm
Do you
not.
know what a Gordon Bennett is?
No.
So Gordon Bennett is when you've got yesterday's leftovers and you do something with it, add something.
Like
and
a paella.
it becomes a different meal. And if you do a Sarah Bennett, it's like a Gordon Bennett, but it's come out better than the original meal.
What's a Sarah Jessica Parker?
It's a brand of perfume.
Well, you would know that.
When you recook your leftovers in fag ash and alcohol.
Well, that's exactly how I cook.
If you just had cabbage and some mashed potato from a roast, just fry it up and have it with an egg. It's the most delicious food that is known to man.
I don't have an issue with that. What I don't like is eating off other people's plates.
Well, that's not what we're talking about.
No, I know, but that's what.
But that's your tip.
Yeah.
Top tip.
Yeah.
I don't like
don't eat off my plate.
Well, I
steal
don't
my
mind it
chips.
if people eat off my plate, or if I've not eaten something and they want to eat it in terms of eating leftovers. But I don't want to eat somebody else's leftovers.
But that's what. So the question is about do you have any tips about how to mark someone that you wouldn't go out with?
I know, but I just want to get this leftover thing clear because I also don't like eating cold pizza the next day.
Oh, I love that.
This is why I'm single, isn't it?
I have to heat the pizza up.
No, I like it cold.
No.
The cheese tastes nicer to me.
I mean,
Freddie would quite happily eat cold pizza, but I have to heat it up.
I'm terminally single because of my eating habits, aren't I? Anyway,
There we are. We know the secret of what's going on.
I think I need to get over myself with the food. So, what are your litmus tests for dating? I mean, you are happily in a relationship, Daryn. So you've obviously got it sorted, right? So, what was your litmus test with?
What was it? I think just someone who likes to have fun. Yeah,
I like
and
to have fun.
if they're kind of so maybe it's if I make a suggestion of maybe a date or doing something that's a little bit silly, and they kind of turn their nose up and be like, I don't want to do that, then I kind of know that it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
I guess it's more about matching personalities.
Yeah. I mean, the whole eating thing, I mean, I don't think I would even go there with that as my litmus test.
Actually, the eating thing is actually really important, is it? Because you're doing it at least 3 times a day.
Okay.
And the eating.
I was going to say, if they used a plate, or even worse, a teacup as an ashtray, I would find that I would use that as a litmus test.
In that, if they'd done that, you would date them or you wouldn't?
They would be welcomed in with open arms.
I mean, yeah, that's my litmus test, because it's like, I don't want someone who's too uptight about shit.
So you'd like to use the plate as an ashtray?
Well, I mean, I'm not even, I mean, I'd rather not use a plate as an ashtray, but I don't, like, if I went to someone's flat and I felt like I'd made it untidy just by walking in there, I know this isn't going to work.
But my flat's not like that.
No, I know. I didn't say it was.
I'm affronted. No, but I just find that a bit, I don't like dogs using
The lavatory.
No.
The bed.
Your cereal bowl for I mean, I have done that when I've been, you know, when your friend comes around with a dog and says, "Oh, can they have a cup of water for the dog?" And you go, "Well, here's my muesli bowl that I use every morning." I don't really like that.
No.
And that would be irresponsible owner, because they should always have some water in a bowl with them.
You can get those collapsible bowls now.
Exactly.
You know, and in the gay world, I mean, if I had a dog, I'd have all of those accessories.
I thought you already did.
I do, but I don't have a dog. I've got a puppy. Anyway,
I don't like. I like to sit up to a table while eating dinner.
oh, where I can eat anywhere. See, this is why we're not dating, Tommy. You know, I think you're a bit too uptight for me.
I can't believe I'm not uptight.
Yeah.
I mean, I do occasionally sit and watch the telly and eat, but mostly I like to listen to Radio 4 and eat my meal.
Yeah, Radio 4's a no-no for me. Anyway, moving on.
Let's call the whole thing off.
So the final Pride Queens of Agony.
I'm actually really drunk now, but I'm going to carry on drinking.
Okay, yeah, have some more wine. So, dear old queens and Daryn, what quality do you find attractive in a man that isn't mentioned? So this is kind of on a similar theme to the last one. Mine is punctuality.
Do you know what we said while we were waiting for you? I said, is Daryn the kind of person that's late? And Bernie said he didn't know, and I said that I thought you were a bit late because once we had a meeting and you were late. But I didn't have much to go on because it was our only meeting.
And then you said you were going to write an autobiography called Waiting for Daryn Carter.
You could probably get a lot of stories. Because I'm always so, in the days before lockdown, with Pride and stuff, doing Pride for 10 years, I'm always flitting around. I've always been juggling Pride as a volunteer and having a day job. So I'm always so pressed.
I'm actually always, now in this world, I'm always late for the Zoom call. And what I do is I've got into this habit of being in attendance and say, I'm not putting my camera on because I've just come out of the shower and I'm naked, but I'm listening and I'm drying myself off and I'll be ready in a short while.
You actually share that with the room. Is that
usually it's just work,
Is that a meeting with your bank manager?
I don't have Zoom calls with my bank manager.
Maybe you should.
I don't even know who I don't have a bank manager.
Okay. Can I finish the question?
if you insist.
Sorry.
Gosh.
Shall I recap?
You can hit
because I've kind of forgotten what it was anyway. So what quality do you find attractive in a man that isn't often mentioned, like on apps or whatever, or in a Sex and the City episode? Like mine is punctuality. I find it attractive when a guy is on time for a date or to meet up. early is good to like. What non-mentioned qualities do you like in a man?
I have to be careful what I say, right? Because Freddie's going to listen to this. So,
Well, I mean, will he? Will he just cover his ears?
I'll stop him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll break the internet when he tries to listen.
You could edit a version that was Freddie safe.
I'll do a Freddie friendly version. Yeah. Okay.
Get you to text him the link.
Yeah.
Specifically.
This is your special link, Freddie. To the Pride.
And then everyone's texting him going, did you hear what Daryn said about you?
I mean, before Freddie.
Okay, yeah,
let's
before
go.
Freddie. Yeah, exactly.
BF.
I'm not
let's
about
go
Freddie.
before BF.
BF.
Yeah.
There isn't many, actually. But no, I think it's a weird thing that I quite like about people. It's definitely hair. But I think maybe that's not that unusual. But I love, the most attractive thing about a man for me is their hair. So we've got to have. I'm attracted to hair first.
Good
everything
hair.
else afterwards. But
What if they're bald?
Well, then they've got no hair, so I won't be attracted to them.
Okay. I quite like a bald man. Anyway, carry on.
No. I like a project.
What are you talking about? A fixer-upper?
Oh,
You want a fixer-upper?
Men under the hammer, you know. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I love a project. So, it's kind of like you see a guy and you're thinking like, oh, if only, what if they just changed their style a little bit, or if they managed to get rid of that horrible beard they've got. Look at you, Bernie.
Hello. Do you feel violated?
Not at all. I love my beard.
Not yet. And hair, like if they're like, oh, if I could just, what if they changed their parting or cut their hair shorter or dyed it,
Okay.
Yeah.
So hair is...
upper.
So presentability.
Yeah.
But you're looking for someone who's not that presentable so you can fix it.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I think I might be resistant to being fixed.
You wouldn't know about it, Bernie.
That's happened to me before. Oh, you reckon? It is like subliminally fixing me. Okay. What about you, Tommy? Like an unknown, it's like an unknown quality which people don't usually mention, but that you find attractive in someone.
I mean, I do love a sense of humour.
Yeah.
I mean, that's on a lot of dating profiles.
Yeah, that's kind of... Well, yeah, but not on that many...
But the issue, I think, is if you would say on a dating profile that you had a sense of humour, then you wouldn't have a sense of humour.
Yeah, it's like when people say on their profiles, I'm a really nice guy. It's like, I question, why are you saying that? Yeah. Why won't I find that out? Why do you have to tell me that? It means you're not really a nice guy, right?
Yeah. I'm really genuine. It's like, well, you felt the need to say that, but you're obviously not.
Yeah. It's like, what does that mean? I don't understand.
Maybe
sense of humour is not something...
I would like to meet that.
What?
A forager.
You know a few foragers.
Yeah, that's true actually. But I don't fancy any of them. But I would like to meet someone that was a forager, and I find that quality quite attractive.
Oh, see, that is unusual. But actually, I must say, obviously, during lockdown, loads of people have been trying to, gather the fruits of the earth a bit more.
I do like a sense of humour, and that is distinctly lacking on some of the apps, I have to say. Sense of humour is very attractive.
I find it funny when they say, because often people say, I don't like this, I don't like that. And then some of them say, what I don't like is people that say, I don't like.
Aye, there's the rub. What qualities in a man do I find attractive? I like it if someone can laugh at themselves.
Go on then.
Like self-deprecation. I kind of like that. Yeah. I don't want someone to be too full of themselves. I want them to be confident enough, but also realise their mistakes. I mean, the whole, eating leftovers thing is a bit...
I'm still hung up on that. I think there's more I need to know about that conversation, because is it leftovers as in scrapings left over from your plate, or was it, as you said about meal prepping, and would you class that as a leftover if you had it another day? I don't think you would do.
I think there's a whole podcast in that.
Yeah, I wouldn't eat in front of someone on a first date. I couldn't do it. when you're dating someone, you don't want to see them eating. It's not the most attractive thing. Is it?
I don't like
getting hung up
I don't like eating on Zoom,
Yeah.
because I mean, obviously in COVID times, but there's a lot of Zoom things going on, even with friends, and a lot of my friends will eat in front of me on Zoom, and I just hate that. It's just like I couldn't do it myself.
I've had a few where I've had to kind of, but I'm a cheerleader kind of Zoom that we were on, and because of timing, I was just like, I'm having a pizza, and I had to eat it whilst on the Zoom, and I was like kind of leaning off every time to kind of.
Well, I was
eat a
leaning
bite.
off to have a cigarette, but it doesn't really work because they can see all this smoke around, and I'm like.
I mean, I think smoking is acceptable on Zoom. But what is wrong with me? I've got a hang up about eating, haven't I? It's the whole leftover thing, and I don't like to see people eat on Zoom. Or I don't really care if people eat on Zoom. I just don't want me to be eating on Zoom, which is a bit like your thing on a first date. You don't want to see someone. You don't want you to be seen eating.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there we are. So the quality that unusual quality that you look for in a man is not eating on Zoom.
Not eating on Zoom and being self-deprecating.
I don't like a big farter.
I'm not a big fan of a big farter either.
No, I mean, I'm a big farter myself.
If you're giving them cabbage and egg all the time, they're going to be.
Yeah, if you're having pagnan, then they'll be guffing all the time, aren't they?
Yeah, it's true. But I'm not currently doing that.
Okay.
Not this month.
Have we come to the end of the episode? I think we might have. What are we going to do after this, Tommy?
After party?
After party? Daryn, have you got suggestions for an after party?
Well, funny you should ask that. What we could do is go away now and listen to some of the amazing videos and playlists we've been given by the Pride After Party DJs who are DJing on Saturday the 12th of September in the evening.
Amazing.
We've got 6 hours of DJ sets from Horse Meat Disco.
Oh, I love a bit of horse meat disco.
Very special set for us. Athena, which is all about the 80s.
Oh,
and
love a bit of 80s too.
They did my King's Cross remix show.
They did.
Yeah.
We were dancing till the early hours after that.
Kiki, Linda, LG Delicious is doing a DJ set for us. Girl Crush, Bitch Please.
Of course.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be really, really amazing.
Great.
So we can go and listen to that now.
Does that happen on Zoom?
That is going to happen on our Twitch channel.
Twitch?
I
don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is either. What is Twitch, Daryn?
It's just literally another streaming site, but it's really great for DJs because obviously if you're a DJ, you might play music that could be copyrighted, and some other stations might take it down.
Right.
Can we sing It's Just a Little Twitch?
Yeah.
I'm twitching already.
Doesn't really matter if you itch.
Is it on... Do you watch it on your laptop or your phone?
You can have it. Well, you either a laptop, phone. You could cast it to
Both.
television, plug your TV. You could plug your laptop into your television,
Or stream it to your.
Yeah.
I'm currently
TV.
using Bernie's mother's TV.
She won't miss it.
She doesn't mind.
She doesn't mind. She's happy it's found a good home. Wow, all sounds amazing. There's lots of stuff for us to get our teeth into with Bristol Online Pride. I hope you will. We'll obviously put some links in our bio so you can enjoy it. But for now, our 3rd season will be starting in a couple of weeks' time, but this is a little taster for it. And for now, we're going to say goodbye. So, Daryn, would you say goodbye to our lovely audience?
Goodbye to our lovely audience and happy Pride.
Bless you. Tommy, say goodbye, Tommy.
Well, thanks, Daryn. And it's lovely to be back in the same room as you, Bernie.
Well, we have been in the same room a few times.
I know, but doing some work.
Yeah, doing the
profesh.
podcast. Yeah, and drinking wine. Thank you, Tommy, and thank you, Daryn, so much for letting us be a part of Pride and being our guest. And we will see you next time on What That Old Queen.
You have been listening to What That Old Queen
Written and presented by Tom Marshman and Bernie Hodges. The show was produced by Bernie Hodges for Hodge Podcasting in the year 2020. If you have a Queens of Agony question, or you'd like to be a guest, or if you'd like to sponsor one of our shows, you can email hello@thatoldqueen.com or find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
Mm-hmm.